Hello my person, welcome to the session on Bordeaux where I'm going to be explaining everything what you need to know for your WSET level 3 wine course and exam preparation. In this video I'll be explaining the Bordeaux climate, grape growing, grape varieties, winemaking laws and classification, appellation system and specific to the region. So a lot things to cover, so let's go. Bordeaux is located in the southwest corner of France. It is exposed to the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean brings a lot of humidity and rain, so the Bordeaux climate is considered a maritime climate. Maritime climate means that there's high amount of rainfall throughout the growing season, which brings a lot of humidity in the vineyard, which leads to high fungal disease pressure. The climate is moderated by the warm Gulf Stream that comes from the Central America and warms the region of Bordeaux. This is one of the reasons why the proximity to the Atlantic Ocean brings more warmth, which is more suitable for a late ripening grape variety like Cabernet Sauvignon versus the part of Bordeaux which is on the right side, which is slightly cooler because of the distance from the Atlantic Ocean and because of the cooler soils. More Merlot is dominated on the right side because the Merlot doesn't need as much heat as Cabernet does to ripen. Frost is not an issue in this kind of climate. Frost is usually an issue where in a continental climate where you have huge temperature difference between winter and summer. Harvest in Bordeaux goes well into October, so a longer growing season allows late ripening grape varieties like Cabernet Sauvignon and Petit Verdot to ripen properly. There's sand dunes and a Landes forest that are located on the Atlantic coast side that is protecting the region from the worst weather that can come from the Atlantic Ocean. Again, with this kind of maritime climate with high rainfall and high humidity, this brings high fungal disease pressure. So in this kind of conditions, viticultural canopy management practices are needed in order to reduce this pressure of fungal diseases by stripping excess leaves, allowing better airflow through the vines to reduce the humidity in the vineyard. In the vineyard also grapes that are picked by hand, you can remove any unhealthy, unripe grapes. And if you're machine harvesting, then you need to do the same thing in the winery. So on the sorting tables to remove any unhealthy, unripe and MOG matter other than grapes, not to influence the quality of the wine. In this kind of unpredictable weather conditions, vintage variations are very common. So vintage variations can influence the quality of the fruit, the quantity of the fruit, which will also influence the quality of the wine, but also the price of the wine. Vintage variations, again, even though the weather conditions can be not perfect in the vineyard, especially today with sorting tables, with good winemaking equipment, this kind of inconsistency can be reduced. Grape growing. So Bordeaux is always a blend for red and white wines. Whenever you have a wine that is a blend, you need to know what each grape variety brings to the blend. Flowering and ripening at different times. So different grape varieties. There's 13 grape varieties that are allowed. They ripen at different times. So this gives a little bit of a logistic issue in Bordeaux. Grapes in the vineyard again can be rejected. Any unripe, any unhealthy, any MOG can be removed in the vineyard, or the same thing can be done in the winery. There's several rivers in Bordeaux. The big river is called Gironde. Gironde separates the region of Bordeaux on the left side of Bordeaux. So everything on the left side of Gironde, closer to the Atlantic Ocean, is considered the left bank, and everything on the right side of Bordeaux is considered the right bank. There's two other rivers that are basically coming into the river Gironde. These are called the North River is called Dordogne, and the bottom river is called Garonne. And there's also a river called Ciron that goes into the river Garonne from the Atlantic side, and creates the temperature difference between Garonne and Ciron, creates high humidity in area around Barzac and Sauternes, which leads to high humidity, which leads to noble rot formation in this area of Bordeaux. So left and right side, so everything closer to the Atlantic Ocean. So closer to the Atlantic Ocean is considered the left bank. The left bank is more Cabernet dominated because of the warmer climate. That is warmer because of the proximity of the ocean, and also soil here is better drained, warmer soil that has the gravelly soil that can also reflect sunlight, absorb heat, has good drainage, which is important for a maritime climate, and also has sand, and all of this is more suitable for a late ripening grape variety like Cabernet Sauvignon, where the right side of Bordeaux, which is on the right side of the river Gironde, is further away from the Atlantic Ocean, so slightly cooler because of that. It also has a cooler soil that is more clay and limestone, but more clay. Limestone is more for the best areas of the right bank. And this kind of cooler soil further away from the Atlantic is more suitable for a grape variety like Merlot that doesn't require as much heat as Cabernet Sauvignon. Okay. Grape varieties. The black grape varieties in Bordeaux are Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot. Cabernet Sauvignon is a grape variety that has high acidity, high tannin, dominated by black fruit, produces full body wines that can age well in oak. Cabernet Sauvignon also has this herbaceous bell pepper character, can age well in oak, and has great potential to age in a bottle. Merlot is more a softening agent in the blend. So it has more moderate acidity, moderate tannin, red fruit dominated, but can be also more black fruit if it's more riper. And also can age very well in oak and has great potential to age in a bottle. So Cabernet Sauvignon is more the structure of the wine, high acidity, high tannin, black fruit, where Merlot is more medium acidity, medium tannin, and more red fruit and riper wines. Cabernet Franc produces lighter body wines with higher acidity, moderate tannin, red fruit, a little bit of herbaceousness like bell pepper, and a little bit of florality. So it gives a little bit more elegance to the wine, where Petit Verdot, also Cabernet Franc, can grow well in a cool climate like Merlot, where Petit Verdot only ripens in the warmest vintages, produces dark fruit, high tannin, and spicy character to the blend. White grape varieties, and also just to mention, Merlot is the most grown black grape variety in Bordeaux, and it's usually it produces premium wines on the right side, but in general it is a grape variety that is used for more simple, inexpensive, approachable young red wines in Bordeaux. For white wines, Semillon is the grape that is a grape that is used more for premium white wines in Bordeaux, that has potential to age well in oak and also to age well in the bottle, where Sauvignon Blanc is more used for not varietal wines, but more Sauvignon Blanc dominated wines that are meant for for inexpensive early consumption wines. Semillon is a wine that is suitable for noble rot wines, so it's susceptible to noble rot, produces wines well in a moderate to warm climate, has moderate plus acidity, gives richness, body, viscosity to the blend, can age well in oak, and also has potential to age in the bottle. Sauvignon Blanc is a grape variety that brings herbaceousness to the blend, brings acidity, and it's well suited for young, simple and fresh wines. Muscadelle is an aromatic grape variety. It gives aromas of peaches, nectarines, and white flowers, so a little bit of floral character in the white Bordeaux blends. Winemaking. All wines are blends. Like I just explained of the grape varieties that are used, so know the grape varieties, know what each grape variety brings to the blend. The blending in Bordeaux can be done either when the wine finishes the fermentation and the wines are going to be actually blended in the spring after the growing, after the fermentation. Or some of the wineries, they keep all the wines separate, different winemaking techniques, different aging regimens, and then they blend everything just before the wine is ready for bottling. One is not better than the other, it's just a different way that wineries do this. Different fermentation vessels for white and red wines. One is not better than the other. Again, different philosophy of the winemakers. Different fermentation vessels can be from new oak barrels for white wines. They can be stainless steel. They can be big oak vats, clay amphoras. So again, different options for the production of different style and quality of the wine. Bordeaux has this big difference between super premium wines and inexpensive wines. So if you get a question on Bordeaux, most probably you're going to get a question of how a premium red wine is produced versus an inexpensive red wine. The same thing for white wines. So with premium red wines, grape sorting, as soon as the grapes come to the winery, the stemming, if they're hand harvested, to remove any stems, because especially with Cabernet Sauvignon, you don't need additional tannin. Grapes are gently crushed, pre-fermentation maceration in order to extract more flavor, higher fermentation temperatures, more extractive winemaking to extract more color and tannin. Post-fermentation maturation to extract additional tannin for the tannin to get more integrated into the wine. After the wine goes through, after the wine finishes the fermentation and malolactic conversion, the best Bordeaux wines age in small new barriques that gives very precise and pronounced aroma intensity of secondary aromas of cedar and toast. And these wines have huge potential for long-term aging and development of tertiary character. For inexpensive red wines, they're going to be more Merlot dominated, so softer wines meant for earlier consumption. Yes, grape sorting, but lower fermentation temperatures to extract less color and less tannin. When the wine finishes the fermentation, they usually do not age in oak, or if they age in oak, it is more a used oak, or maybe they can use even alternatives to oak like chips and staves. And the wines are bottled and ready for consumption, where also the blending part for premium wines is going to be important for example, Cabernet Sauvignon to bring more tannin structure, and Merlot to give a little bit more softness. There's also rosé wines in Bordeaux. So there's two styles of rosé: a normal rosé and a Bordeaux claret. So Bordeaux claret is a deeper color rosé, almost like a pale red wine that is made by longer skin maceration. And because Bordeaux wines basically they're always made from the same grapes. They need to make a point of difference between these wines. So the best wine in Bordeaux are called Grand Vin. It means the first wine, the best wine of the winery, and then they can have their second and third wine and so on. The best wines are going to be aging in oak for small barriques of 225 liters. This is for white and red wines. Bordeaux is also famous for its sweet wines made by grapes that are affected by noble rot. So you need to, whenever you have noble rot, not just in Bordeaux, but in any of the region, you need to know the characteristics. You need to know the conditions in the vineyard in order for noble rot to develop. There's always a river or a lake that gives high humidity in the morning that allows for the noble rot to develop on the skins of the grapes, to pierce the skins, for the water to evaporate. Noble rot also gives very specific aroma of honey and marmalade. The water is going to evaporate from the grapes, which will concentrate everything else as a result. Sugar levels are going to increase, the acidity will increase, the grapes are going to be very ripe, and this will lead to lusciously sweet wines. Noble rot, if it doesn't develop reliably every year, they can use passerellage grapes. Passerellage grapes mean late harvest grapes, which will again produce grapes with high sugar concentration, which will make the wine sweet, but these grapes are not going to have the noble rot character for which Sauternes and Barsac wines are known for. Garage wines are wines that are made from very ripe Merlot grapes. So these producers are called garagistes. Garage wines are indicating also the size of this winery, so very small production, super premium wines, extremely ripe Merlot that ages once or even twice in new oak barriques, so produces extremely powerful Merlot based wines on the right side. Laws and classifications. So what you need to understand first is the difference between appellation system and a classification system. So appellation system is the regional rules and the regulations which grape varieties can be grown at what yields, how they need to be aged. So a standard thing, the classification system is outside of the appellation system, and it's more selection of the best wines from a body that basically sets the criteria for the quality of these wines. Also, what is important for you to understand is that the appellation system in Bordeaux is not really well organized like it is in Burgundy. In Burgundy, you have the regional appellation, then you have the village appellation, and then you have the premier crus, and the best wines are smallest areas of the single vineyard appellation system, right? And this appellation system, the price and the quality basically changes as you change the appellation. In Bordeaux, it doesn't really work like that. In Bordeaux, it is more about the reputation of the brand, and they call it chateaus here. Chateau doesn't really mean that every winery in Bordeaux is actual chateau, but in any case, it is the name of the brand. And this wineries, the brands, they can be small today, they can buy vineyards, they can expand, they can produce higher quantity of wines, and they can still basically have the same or even higher prices just because of the power of the brand. So with that said, there's few classification systems that you need to know. I'll explain the appellation system in the next slide. So the first classification system was the 8055. So the Chamber of Commerce of Bordeaux in 1855 asked for a list of the best or the most priced wines in 1855, and all the wines that were on this list were from the left side of Bordeaux, but on the north from the city of Bordeaux. There was only one winery, Aubryon, that was coming from Pessac-Léognan. All the rest were coming from the region of Bordeaux, of Médoc, which is the north side of city of Bordeaux. So this 1855 classification classified the wines into 5 ranks. There was 16 wines classified, and the first rank was dedicated to wineries like Chateau Margaux, Lafite, Latour, and Aubryon, which was the only one that was coming from the Pessac-Léognan region. The same thing was done for the sweet wines. There was 3 ranks, and the highest quality wine, the only one in the top category, was Chateau d'Yquem. Cru Bourgeois classification. So this was done, the 1855 was done in 1855, and then this actually did not change in more than 150 years. So the wines that did not classify in this 1855, the Bordeaux created a different classification, which is called Cru Bourgeois. So Cru Bourgeois is wines are classified based on their quality. The wines are coming from the Médoc region, and they're classified every year. So every year a winery needs to give its wine to be classified, and if the wine fits the quality that they're looking for, that vintage will be classified as Cru Bourgeois. Grave's appellation, which is located south of Bordeaux, has also a classification that was done in 1955, and the wines were classified for white and red. So 1855 was only for the red wines. The Grave classification was done in 1955, and it was for white and red wines. All the wines are actually coming from Pessac-Léognan, but they don't have a hierarchy. Some wines have white and red wines, some wineries have just white wines, and some wineries have just red wines that were classified. Saint-Emilion has the appellation system and the classification system that is integrated in the appellation system. So let me try to explain this. So the 2 appellation systems in Saint-Emilion are Saint-Emilion and Saint-Emilion Grand Cru. The difference between Saint-Emilion and Saint-Emilion Grand Cru, Saint-Emilion Grand Cru sounds like it's, you know, the highest quality wines because it says Grand Cru, but in reality these are higher quality wines than basic Saint-Emilion, but they're nothing close to that Grand Cru, for example, that Grand Cru indicates in Burgundy, right? So higher quality wines than Saint-Emilion, okay? But in the Saint-Emilion Grand Cru appellation, you have a classification systems of 3 levels. So the higher quality wines of the first classification are called Saint-Emilion Premier Grand Cru Classé. And then this Premier Grand Cru Classé classification is divided in category B, which is our higher quality wines than just Saint-Emilion Premier Grand Cru Classé. And the highest quality wines, the top of the top, are Saint-Emilion Grand Cru Classé Class A. Okay, so 2 appellation systems, Saint-Emilion, Saint-Emilion Grand Cru. Within the Saint-Emilion Grand Cru appellation, you have the 3 classification system, which is Saint-Emilion Grand Cru Classé, which is divided into B, great wines, and A, the top of the top. Okay. Appellations, there's many appellations in Bordeaux. There's more than 50 of them. what you need to understand is the generic appellation of Bordeaux or Bordeaux Superior. There's not really a huge difference between quality in these wines. Bordeaux Superior wines need to have generally a little higher alcohol than basic Bordeaux, which in any case they do. And in this appellation can produce white, red, and rosé wines. This is very important to understand because Bordeaux wines in generally are produced in generally red wine production. So you need to understand that in order to make white and rosé wines, you can use the Bordeaux and Bordeaux Superior appellation. Okay. Then we go to the left side of Bordeaux. Left side of Bordeaux, north of the city of Bordeaux, the region is called Médoc. The top part is called Bas Médoc and the southern part is called Haut-Médoc. In the region of Haut-Médoc, you have, in Bordeaux, they call it communes. There's 4 communes that you need to know. And these are from the north to south: Saint-Emilion, Pauillac, Saint-Julien, and Margaux. Usually, Bordeaux wines, Bordeaux generic appellation will be simple, approachable wines. If you get Haut-Médoc appellation, this wine should be better quality than basic Bordeaux Superior wines. And then if you get Haut-Médoc, better wines than just Médoc. And then if you get the wine from one of the communes, they should be higher quality than just Haut-Médoc. And these wines are all going to be on the Médoc side. They're going to be Merlot dominated, Cabernet dominated wines, where Bordeaux, just basic Bordeaux and Bordeaux Superior. For the red wines, they're going to be more Merlot dominated, where the white wines are going to be more Sauvignon Blanc dominated. Left side of Bordeaux, south of the city of Bordeaux, you have the big region of Graves, in which you have the smaller appellation of Pessac-Léognan. Pessac-Léognan produces always premium white and red wines. On the right side of Bordeaux, you have the super premium appellations of Saint-Emilion. We talked about Saint-Emilion Grand Cru, and then the classification system. Pomerol doesn't have a classification system, but it's a very small, prestigious region. So Saint-Emilion and Pomerol, they produce premium red wines based on Merlot. There is a group appellations that are called Côte de Bordeaux. And in this group, they're also on the right side of Bordeaux, they're Merlot dominated appellations that belong to this group of appellations is Blaye, Cadillac, Castillon, and Francs. There is an appellation called Premier Côte de Bordeaux. So don't confuse Côte de Bordeaux with Premier Côte de Bordeaux. Premier Côte de Bordeaux is for red wines. Premier Côte de Bordeaux is the sweet white wines on the right side, on the right bank. Okay. Appellations continue. Entre-deux-Mers. Entre-deux-Mers is the appellation that is located between the 2 rivers, Dordogne and Garonne. So you have the right side, you have the left side, but then you have the Entre-deux-Mers between the 2 rivers. This appellation can only produce white wines. And then you have the sweet wine appellation of Sauternes and Barsac. Sauternes and Barsac are located on the left side, south of Bordeaux. Barsac is the area, and Barsac can produce wines under the Barsac appellation or Sauternes appellation, where the wines from Sauternes can only use the appellation of Sauternes. Okay. Specific to Bordeaux, Bordeaux is the largest appellation in France in terms of volume, but also the value of the wine that are produced, and it has a big gap between super premium wines and inexpensive supermarket wines. Just a thing to know. Wine person, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's helping you in your course and exam preparation. I'll see you in the next session. Until then, stay thirsty and wise.